Today I thought I'd introduce you to the tasty truck. I've got a few jobs to do on it today. Coolant pipe, something in a box, and a bigger thing in a bigger box. So while I was doing those, I thought I would do a little introduction, because this is a truck that's going to feature quite often on this channel. This thing is a 5.9 litre V8, that's 360 cubic inches if you're across the pond. And yeah, it's a monster. It's, I don't know, something like 300 horsepower, maybe a touch more because of some of the trick bits I've done to it. And yeah, it goes like the clappers, and it's got quite a few mod cons and such that I've done to it. And there's still loads more I want to do to it over the years. So I thought I'll start with a little introduction to it now, and then over the years I'll be doing little videos here and there of just improving it and making it even better than it already is. The story goes, I bought this car off a fella that had imported it from a dry state. I don't know which one, to be honest. I think it was somewhere around Texas, possibly Nevada. And yeah, he brought it over, it arrived, and he stashed it with a few others, and it wasn't running properly. It would start, but not very well, you know. And he brought it to the workshop for me after I'd been to see it, and I picked it up for £4,500, which is not a lot of money, but it needed a lot of work. It was in a pretty sorry state when I got it, you know. And here you can see him taking it off the trailer for me and driving it into the workshop. This was the first time I'd really seen the car properly, because when I went to look at it, it was sat just sort of in a very small space, so I couldn't get around it properly. But yeah, he drove it over for me, and it just, yeah, absolutely made up with it. And yeah, as soon as I got the truck, we immediately pulled it apart to try and get it running properly. And that is where, on my little intro video, you see me pulling out the bent push rod. That's from this engine, and yeah, it was bent. And yeah, the push rods make the valves open and close and stuff. So it wasn't obviously doing that because it was an L shape. And yeah, put it all back together once we'd straightened everything out by hammering them in a vise, and it ran really well. That's amazing. We then hit the internet and just bought so much stuff for it, you know. New bits of these, you know, these are all brand new and they're absolutely gorgeous, like, you know, loads of other little bits, just everything that you need to get it up and running, brake stuff, all that kind of gear. Put it all together, you know, getting a good sort of feel for the truck while I was doing it, because this is the first time, pretty much, well, kind of the first time that I'd worked on anything like this. So it was really sort of learning all about it, which was just great fun, you know. And I as I say, this is one of my dream cars, so every bit of working on this I've enjoyed. And then yeah, we put it all together, we got it running and driving. Here's a little clip now of its first sort of trip. And yeah, I had a few issues with its running and such when when I got it, there was a lot of sort of fuel delivery problems and a lot of fuel pump issues. It's mechanical fuel pump on these, so if you do know your onions a little bit, you'll know that they're a bit of a pain in the arse, and you've got to make sure there's everything else is in place for them to work properly. But yeah, so got it up and running, got it registered in the UK. First few drives in it, amazing, you know, what a piece of kit, you know, just blew me away with the power. Don't know why you Americans do it. Maybe you could enlighten me and sort of give me an idea, but why do you feel the need to put such a huge, powerful engine in a commercial vehicle? You know, it's just, it shouldn't have this much power. It could pull a house down. It's insane the amount of torque and power this thing has. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Absolutely love it. And yeah, so I was driving it around for a bit, did a few upgrades along the way, new headlights and such, and just sort of really giving it a good clean inspection. Loads of bits on the interior. I put new speakers in, new Bluetooth, DAB, digital radio, stereo in it. Loads of odds and sods like that. And yeah, enjoyed it for a bit, but then it started to run pretty badly. And yeah, we delved into it, and it turned out that essentially what had happened is that I'd been putting normal petrol in it, and I didn't even think, to be honest. I don't know why, it just never occurred to me that I should have been looking at sort of lead replacement fuel and this type of stuff, which we use on things like the Morris Traveller that's sat next to me here, and a lot of the older cars in the UK. But it just didn't even occur to me on the truck to put any sort of lead replacement in it, and I just used it straight petrol, and what that ended up doing was sort of melting the valves essentially, and just making it run rougher and rougher and rougher until it got to a stage where it just didn't want to run properly. And then it started to make a bit of a sort of bottom endy type noise, which was, you know, really bad, and I don't know why that was. So inevitably I thought, right, I want this thing, you know, for potentially the rest of my life, or a very long time anyway, and hopefully, and I took the engine out, stripped the front end down, took the engine out, sent it off to a great place I know in Warrington, where they stripped the engine down, completely rebuilt it from the bottom up using all new parts, and hardened faces to the valves as well, so it can run on normal and leaded. Brilliant. Got the engine back. This took roughly 6 months. Got the engine back, put it all back in. Amazing. Runs so well. Haven't done loads to it since that, to be honest. That wasn't that long ago. I've just been sort of using it and stuff. Annoyingly as well, all that sort of Ukraine oil thing, you know, price of petrol and stuff, and fuels and electricity and gas and all that sort of thing happened, and everything shot up. So one of the reasons I haven't been using it as much is that the cost roughly now to drive this on a bad day, when I'm flooring it everywhere, gets up there to about £1 a mile. It does roughly 10-11 miles to the gallon. If I drive it nicely, it's not too bad, but if I put my foot down everywhere, which I really like doing because it sounds amazing, I had custom exhausts made for it as well. It's just 2 boxes on either side. Not quite as large as I'd like sometimes. I might put one of those little valves in it at some point, which would be fun, wouldn't it? But yeah, it does cost a fair few quid to run. So I'm not using it as much as I should. I've got my daily driver out there per sat, so it's fine. And I use it just when I'm going into town to take wheels and stuff around, and any little short trips I'll use it on just to have a bit of fun when the weather's nice. So yeah, got my little door speakers made, a few new bits on the inside, did a couple of other touches as well, like all new sort of weather seals and things, all new rubber seals around the truck, which is great, you know. Look at that bit of patina there. Isn't that the coolest bit of patina ever? That's just where over the years I've just been leaning out the window, and I'm just carrying on the tradition of leaning out the window. Yeah, put the nice steering wheel on it. Everything else works fine. There's my little CD stereo. And the dash top is currently out. That's at the trimmers. He's going to be re-trimming that for me. I'm doing a few custom jobs, like I don't know if you can see the indicator, sorry, the gear stick there. But he's just trimming a few little bits. And the ceiling, the roof liner, we've just got to do this strip along here, but everything else is sort of done there. So yeah, a few little jobs to do inside here, and then we're going to look at stuff like recarpeting it in its entirety. And yeah, making it nice. Under the bonnet, fairly hectic. This is my newly rebuilt 6 litre V8, 5.9 V8, and yeah, it's good as gold really. Not that much to say about it. I've done some modifications, as you can see. I've put one of these pancake filters on. It's got a blaster coil in it, loads of stuff like plugs, leads, all that type of thing. It's got the master flamethrower. This is all sort of like Summit Racing parts that I've put on it. The flamethrower distributor. It's also an Edelbrock intake to change it from the 2-barrel to the 4-barrel. And I've put a Holly Street something or other, Street Warrior I think it's called. Holly Street Warrior carburettor on it, 4-barrel carb. And yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. But great, absolutely love it. Everything else in it, absolutely fine, you know, good as gold. The only thing I want to do to it is swap out the oil pressure switch, which I haven't done from when it came back from the engine builders. Change this pipe here and change the power steering pump. So I'm going to do that today. And refill the washer jets. Yeah, that'll just make it a little bit more reliable for when I do want to take it out, but that's it really, you know, it's just little jobs like that now. Very nice. Metal bar just to hold the bonnet open that little bit more. What a machine. Now interestingly, this metal bar, this is something I left over from a project that I had. And I'm going to show you that project now. A couple of pictures of the tent that I made for the back to make it a sort of not a particularly glamping style camping experience, but yeah, keeps the rain off you, and it's huge in the back. Loads and loads of space for sleeping and activities. I'm catching an awful lot of that. Still a nice colour. Whoops. Come off. Oh. So, why am I replacing this? It looks in such good condition. Well, it's got a hole in it, but I tried to sort of seal. Little hole. So time to throw it away. Now I bought this off of Rock Auto. It's a Gates thing, look, which is nice, isn't it? And they promised me it's the right one. So, I mean, it looks pretty good. You know, let's throw that on, eh? And there's a few things I want to do to this truck over the years to come. One of which is, I do want to lower it. I want to get it on its ring. One of the problems with doing that though is that this is an F250, which is the adults version of the F-Series truck, with the big bed and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's the big daddy. I wanted the biggest one because there's so much space in the roads over here in the UK. Can you hear those geese? I think it's Christmas coming up soon. I think they might be trying to escape. Yeah, so I don't know if that's, it doesn't feel like the right size, that. Okay. Maybe if I just tighten it as tight as possible, maybe it will become the right size. So yeah, being the F250 means that a lot of stuff underneath is apparently quite different to an F100. And a lot of the lowering kits that you can buy, the off-the-shelf kits, are made for F100s. Because more people like those. God knows why. So, any ideas on anywhere selling a kit that would work for an F250, that'd be great, because I really do want to get it low. Ideally, I mean, you know, I'd love it if it was on bags. Wouldn't that be cool? If it were on air suspension. And yeah, as well as lowering it, I don't know what else I really would like to do to it. I mean, it's got everything else I need, so maybe just some interior work to make it pretty nice and smart in there. Maybe put some wood in the bed, just to handle the attack of the British weather a little bit more. Because it's had a bit of abuse over the years. It's not the best, so I'd potentially just cover it in some sort of rust prevention, and then a bit of paint, and then deck it out in a bit of wood just to make throwing tyres in it a little bit safer. But yeah, not a lot else really. If you can think of anything, you know, there's a lot of Americans watching this. If you can think of anything that I should do to it, let me know, because I don't see many other ones of these around here in the UK, so I haven't got a huge amount of inspiration, you know. Right, what's next then? So I've done that, so I should probably fill it up with water and just make sure it doesn't leak, but I'm going to do that after I've changed the power steering pump, I think. So let's get some spanners and just pull that off. Touch wood, it's a pretty easy job to take off this power steering pump, and the reason I'm replacing it is because something's gone inside and it's blowing back, so it's pumping some pumpiness out through here and splattering all over my lovely clean engine, which is nicht cool, and it makes a bit of a squeal noise like a pig getting and another reason I want to change this power steering pump is that it's sitting ever so slightly, I don't think you can see from there, but ever so slightly on the piss, so it's a little bit back, like that, which is just, you know, not cool, and it's making the belt move in mysterious ways and all this type of thing, so I just want to do something about that really. She moves in mysterious ways. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Yeah, this looks roughly the same, except there's no big spinny bit on here, and there is on there. So that's a bit worrying, isn't it? Oh. I don't know, I guess we'll just have to make something up with that. So yeah, it's time to drop a load of power steering fluid on the floor. I will say as well, for about the millionth time, always seems to be dropping power steering fluid on the back of the floor. Hey, yeah. Come on, work. So much oil. So much oil. Okay, what do I do now? Oh no, I've knocked off my Flowmaster sticker. Oh yeah, I also put 4-branch manifolds on each side to make it go super fast. So next thing I want to do is swap the oil pressure switch because it's just there, so let's do that. Oh, sputum. So there is this delicious nut bolt, sorry, that I threw in there just to stop it leaking everywhere. Because what happened is when I sent the engine off, the rebuilders, when they pulled this thing off, they said it just fell to bits. So we had to get a new one, and obviously being in the UK, nowhere's got them. And I think this one doesn't fit. This does. What a result. Come on. Squeeze. That'll do. Hopefully that won't leak. And this little wire that's been waiting to do a job for 100 years can now be plugged back in. Oh, yes, yes. No, go back up there. Okay. Should probably change that fuel pipe one day as well, but that seems to be holding quite nicely, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right, I better take these two over to the bench and try and swap this machine. Right then, an entirely new day has happened, and around 400 days have passed since we last spoke. For you, that was only about 4 seconds, but for me, there's been an entire change in the weather since we last spoke. I had to do the one thing I hate doing with cars, and that is purchasing this machine here, which is a special tool. And I hate special tools. You should just be able to do stuff with cars. You should just be able to like use hammers and things to get things moving, you know, but no, you've got to buy special tools. So the problem was, I thought this pulley was like fixed on there with a screw or something, and it's not, it's pressed on. Hey! So the power steering pump, oh good lord, oh good lord, why is this so, I thought you were empty. Where did all that come from? I think it's because I turned the machine, and then it did a pump when it wasn't in the car, which is bad. The new one I got hasn't got the circle on it for the belt, so, and as you can see, it's just a very shiny little sort of dando shaft there. Why is this one oily? And yeah, I've got to press the old pulley onto that, which is fine. And ordinarily, I would just stick it in a vise and hammer it with hammers and chisels, and I've got a hydraulic press over there. But we are in the UK, this is an American car. Getting that pump here was hard work and very expensive, so I thought, what I'll do is I'll do the job properly, because I don't want anything to go wrong and have to spend another, 100 quid on shipping and VAT to get something over from the States. So I thought I'd do it properly. I had other stuff to do as well, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I'm going to use this machine now that I bought off of the internet. On this one, this comes off. Take this, put on new one. Done. So yeah, let's go over to the place and we'll do it. Honestly, this workshop is filled with special tools that I have only used once and will probably only ever use once. There's one up there for timing cars, there's another one there for timing cars, one up there for brakes. It's just make it better, engineers, Right, let's give this a go. Now, we're going to learn together here. We've got this. It's going to be straightforward, isn't it? Let me move you a bit closer. It's going to be straightforward. It better be straightforward. Right, I've seen on the internet, like, that goes on there. Right, so you put... Right, so yeah, so you put them around that, and that holds them in... Oh, it's working. And that whole... Should this work better than this? Have I bought the cheapest possible one? Yes, I have. Right, okay, so that does that, and then you thread this around something. Oh, something goes inside there. This is overly complicated, I find. Ah, right, I get you. Right, you have to put other things in. We're learning together, folks. Right, so this looks like the pusher thing, which pushes it off the shaft, which would make total sense. So it has to be a certain way around. And then that... Oh, look at that. Looks like it's working. Right, and then I think you buzz that and you hold that and it goes and slides off. Hope you're noticing as well, I'm wearing a radio mic, which I bought and arrived the other day, so I thought I'd try it out for this. I don't know how good it's going, but if it means that I have to shout a lot less, then wicked. Right, so let's get a couple of spanners and we'll do some of this. Spanner number... Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay. Need a bigger one. Let's try this one, eh? Oh look, that's not going to work at all, but maybe if I... Yeah, that might do it. The problem I'm having is I don't have a American-sized Imperial spanner, so I'm having to use a metric 21, but listen, it's going to be okay. Life's full of surprises. And today's surprise is this might just work. Right, so you've got to Am I tightening that? Yeah. Just put that there like that, and then. Fucking hell! Oh, it feels like it's doing something. God, come on. All this just for a squeaky power steering pump. What does ASMR stand for? Jesus, fucking hell. If only someone had invented some sort of electric ratchet. I can feel it coming though. It is coming. I think this is going to work. And this is a lot less effort than if I'd have just tried hammering it off. Because there's definitely going to be some smart asses in the comments going, oh, you could easily do that, just put a block of wood in it and hit it over the head several times, and that was a bit easier. Look, circle is off, so this one now goes over here, and then this one, does this have an, how does this one go on though? Just getting that started. Yeah, that's nice and completely on the piss now. Great. There we go. It's nice and straight. Okay. So, is there was obviously one for coming out, but is there one for going in? How would that work? Right, the thing inside there, yeah, is threaded. So will this bite onto it? Nope. What about this one? Oh. I was going to say nope then for a laugh, but it does actually feel like it's biting on. Cool. Right, so listen, I am genuinely making this up as a. When I gave it a quick Google, and I was like, why power steering pulley not come off? And they were like, oh, you've got to buy these things and do all this stuff. And I was like, oh, that sounds really boring. And then, does that not go over that? Come on, fucking. Oh, right, okay, taking it out again. And what was I saying? Yeah. And I watched like the video for like 30 seconds, and then I was like, yeah, great, okay, we'll do that. That's easy. Right, okay, I think I've worked this out. Changing batteries on GoPros is another thing I'd like to complain about today. That took too long. What did I figure out? Yeah, that was it. Did I figure anything out back then? Yeah. So, stop moving. I think you thread this in there, and then when it bites onto the thing, this bites as well, and then it all bites together, and then this pulls it in. I hope I don't unscrew anything inside though. Yeah, there you go. So like, you have to turn this one. Yeah, and then you hold this out with a spanner so it can get past like that. Oh yes, very snazzy. Okay, cool. Okay, that feels a bit more. Oh god, oh yeah. See, it's flying on now. All it takes is a little bit of trial and error and figuring out, and I'm not the kind of guy that sits there and reads instructions. Life's too short for instructions. Surely there's something that holds that in place though, or is that just my hand? Okay. It's going on there quite nicely, so it's not taking like loads of pressure. Oh yeah, like I snapped the thing. That's why your camera angle's changed as well. I snapped that. I seem to break a lot of stuff around here. Is it because I buy the cheapest? Yes. Does this stop it moving? If I was to just... This is stopping that moving now. Yeah, and I can see it flying. How do I know when it's complete? I should have looked at the old one and seen how far away that was. It's too late for that now, of course. Unless I can see on the shaft. Let's have a look. Oh. Yeah, it's about 5 mil. That's good enough for me. Yeah. Come on. That looks like it'll do. Right, how do you get it out now? Do you think I should just leave that on there forever? Probably not. I wish I was clever. I wish I was clever. I'm like that guy in the film that like goes up to the wizard and he's like, "You can have anything," and I'll be like, "A brain that works," and he'd be like, "Too far gone, pal. Too far gone. There's no hope for you." Okay. Done. Power steering pump newydd. That's new power steering pump in Welsh. For anybody watching. Lovely. Take that thing off. Warranty. Yeah. So now we've just got to throw it back onto the truck. Yeah. Quite like this little cap. I might keep that on it actually. Better than the dipstick I've got. But I'll keep the dipstick handy for if I need to check the levels, of course. Right, let's go fit it. Okay, so I've raided the parts department and sort of grabbed a handful of circular bits with holes in the middle to bridge that gap a little bit at the back, just varying amounts, so I can pull the power steering pump straight again, because that was one of the issues that I was having. So I'm going to throw that back in now, try and get it to where it looks as straight as possible, so the belt has a nice easy time instead of trying to turn a corner while it does 5,000 RPM. And yeah, we will potentially have some success. Yeah, so you're going to want to be out like that, aren't you? Yeah? Out like that, okay. Bollocks. Got it. Go in. Stop. Don't be like this, just go in. come on, people are watching me on camera. Okay, are we in? Right then, let's just tighten that one up. And that is the first step to freedom, guys. Oh, it's much better now. When you tighten up, you can see it's not pulling everything else round with it. Great, nice and easy fix. Right, what's next? Let's just tighten these little badgers up here, because these look like they've loosened through the passage of time. Okay, right, let's manhandle this annoying shaped piece of metal into place. Where did you leave the bolts? Where did you leave them? You had them last. I had them. Okay. So it's got holes on it. Yeah. Are they just to try it? Yeah. Okay. Check it first, though. Just. Someone should invent a power steering pump that is half the weight. No, a quarter of the weight. That'd be good. Yeah. Okay, we're in. Yeah. It's quite a tricky one, this top one, because it's in between the pulley and the other thing and the brackets, and therefore you can't truly get a spanner on it properly, because you'll get the spanner caught when taking it out, but when putting it back in, it's not a problem, so I don't even know why I'm saying it. Right, so that's one. Put the other one in. We're flying, guys. Absolutely flying. Where's the washer for this? Not a lot of adjustment in that there. Okay. I'd imagine the people that made this power steering pump did make the effort to measure it up first, so we'll believe them. Are you going in, though? Oh, yes, you are. Magnificence. Okay, right, while I'm putting all this back together as well, can I say, don't like being the standard YouTuber and being like, oh god, yeah guys, thanks for all the subscriptions, you know, you're so cool, but genuinely, thanks for all of the subscriptions. I think when I left the house this morning, it was something like 470 and 2,700 watch hours or something, which is like... Right, just tighten that up. Yeah, so if you have got 2 seconds spare while you're watching this, if you can jump out and give the whole channel a subscribe, video a like, that'd be amazing. And also the level of niceness in the comments I've had. Everybody's been really nice and like saying lots of lovely things, and that's really good. I've been really humbled to watch those, to read those comments, so thank you. It's really nice of you. Is this radio mic picking me up on the back of the workshop? I think so. Because yeah, really enjoying doing this, which is mad, I know. Come on, why I haven't even tightened yet. Okay, if you didn't know how to adjust a belt, as long as you've got a little bit of movement, like an inch either way, then that is going to be tight enough. And then you just nip your bolt up. Yeah. and that's that held in place, and shouldn't make any squealy noises, shouldn't be going whenever you start the truck. Yeah. One more for good luck. Yeah. There you go. Nice. All looking good. Right, these ones at the back now. Which way round is that going to go? Like that? Okay. Right, so all the pipes are back on. That cloth's quite sodden with oil. All the cloths are. I'd like to address the elephant in the room as well. You might be able to see this here, which looks annoyingly, dramatically much worse than it is. Again, difficulties with being over here. When I got the engine back for the truck and we put it in and started it for the first time, it was leaking water out of both gaskets here where the inlet manifold bolts onto the heads. Now, there's supposed to be a cork gasket on either side of those. Really annoying. We needed the engine back, couldn't get the gaskets, so we did what we could. Well, I say we, the engine builders did what they could to put it back together, but it does weep the tiniest little bit of water every now and then. But it's not a massive issue, it's just a little bit annoying. I mean, they're sort of machined steel anyway, so they were going to rust a touch. So what I might do over time is just give them a little bit of a sand down and a lick of paint at some point. But yeah, it's not too much of a worry anyway. But all I need to do now is put some power steering fluid in it and fire her up and see if everything that we've just done works. Right, okay then, that's all back together. Shall we see if and how it runs? I filled the power steering fluid up, probably 250ml more than it needed, but pfft, when did a little extra ever hurt anybody, you know? Great success! Let's get you in for a look, eh? So you can see that's now running nice and straight, and it's not having to turn 1,000 corners, and it sounds brilliant. Yeah, it sounds really good. Nice thing. So there we have it then, guys and girls. This is the tasty truck, my 1969 F250. It's taking it for a quick spin around the block, and yeah, power steering pump is now quiet as a mouse, and everything else seems to be working perfectly, including the oil pressure gauge, which is brilliant. Look at this for an oil pressure gauge, yeah? Can you even see that? Yeah, it's a bit tough to see, but you get it. It's perfect, exactly where it's supposed to be. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction. We'll see the car a lot more in the next few years. Hopefully one day we'll get it dropped on its ring and maybe do something with the paint, although to be honest, I really like this paint, so I'm not 100% sure. But either way, yeah, nice old bus, eh?